To everybody that has just joined in, we'll get started in just a minute or two. You should see the Zoom session protocols on the screen. All attendees will be muted, at least at the onset, but you do have the chat available for questions. You should also have the hand raise function available as well. And as we go through different questions, if it's better for you to be able to talk, you can let me know and I can unmute people as we go. And if we stay with a smaller group, like we may have, judging by who's here right now, I may, if FileWave is good with it, I may go ahead and turn on that capability for you guys to just unmute when needed. But we'll get started in just 1 minute. Okay, welcome to the session from FileWave that's going to teach us a lot about managing multi-platform devices. If you would, please use the chat throughout. And Stephen, if it is okay with you, I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I'll kick it over to you. And if you're good with it, just let me know if you want me to give everybody the ability to unmute, but take it away.
All right, thank you. And yes, yeah, feel free to let them unmute. We'll watch to see if anyone accidentally hits that, as we've all become too accustomed to all these different Zoom rooms and whatnot, and that mute unmute button is kind of pesky. So no worries there at all. So pleasure to be here, everybody. I of course wish we were back together in person. Hopefully we get there. This is only temporary. So very excited to kind of get back into the new 2021, as I'm sure all of you are as well. As he mentioned, my name is Stephen Morante. I am the Vice President of Sales over the Americas, so North America and Canada. But also I wanted to kind of share some other team members that you would be directly working with as well. So Bridget Shoemaker would be our sales representative. Jerry Case, who's on here as well, is one of our senior engineers. And then Callie Wagasback runs our partner channel. So all those awesome partners that you work with, we've definitely got a strong team here for you. Depending on time, I know it's a quick 30 minutes. I want to make sure this is as much informational for you as possible. And so I want to dig into some details of FileWave. This may be your kind of first look at our platform in the device management realm. Depending on time, I'll jump into the actual product itself and just kind of give you a really quick tutorial, high level, in hopes that we can kind of get together here after as well. So first and foremost, to kind of bring the familiarity to FileWave, when we talk about mobile device management and managing devices in general, you know, the initials MDM are kind of centralized, right? The first thing that comes to mind is Apple products. And we know that there is a dime a dozen of MDMs nowadays, and FileWave's been around for a very long time. I've been here now for just under 10 years, and we just don't see it that way anymore. So here at FileWave, we look at everything as a unified endpoint management platform. All right. So bottom line is, here at FileWave, we give you, the staff, the ability to manage any Windows, Mac, iOS, iPad, Android, Apple TV, and yes, even now an extended visibility to Chrome devices, all from one central platform. So that's kind of what we're after, and especially with the inflection of devices as we continue with the distance and remote learning. This has really come front and center for a lot of leadership and, of course, the IT staff themselves, just working smarter within single tools instead of having to scatter with multiple. I did want to share our vision, as this is ever so important. We want to enable a consistent user experience with any device, but more importantly, within any deployment model. Okay, so a lot of you may be familiar with the shared, of course, one-to-many, one-to-one, BYOD, but what's happening now is we're taking them home. And do we have the right connectivity tools to ensure these devices remain connected and that we're able to get content out to them no matter the device types once again? Real quick history, again, a little bit more background about FileWave in general. As I mentioned, we've been around a long time, since '92. So believe it or not, FileWave was the very, very first MDM on the Apple side. Of course, with our partners with Microsoft and Google, we've expanded that throughout the years. So our headquarters, though, more importantly for you, are in Indianapolis, Indiana. And the main reason I share that is because support always comes up. Where are we getting support? Because we are a global company. You do get support. You guys specifically get support right out of our Indianapolis office from about 6 a.m. to about 7 p.m. Eastern. And then it just shifts over to our Los Angeles based team. So all in all, we've got you covered here right at home. I am personally not a big logo person, but again, the main reason I wanted to share this is twofold, is because again, whether you've heard of FileWave in the past, or this again is your first time looking, it's very important for education, our education customers, to look at and understand that 90% of our customer base is education, because we tout very openly that we know what you guys are going through. And we only do that because of our tenured staff, but also the educators that we have brought on board. Jerry Case, your engineer included, comes from the education background, and he's been here at FileWave just under 10 years as well. So we love education. We definitely know what you guys go through. There's always something new, but that is very important for us to kind of clear up there. We do have customers of every size, 100 devices, 1,000, 100,000, you name it, it exists here. And the reason I only state that is because we want to introduce you to your peers, right? And you have plenty there right at home. You know, Newport News, Richmond Public Schools, Hampton City, Rockingham, and plenty more right there within the state. Would love to kind of share their stories with you, as they range from all different sizes, of course, and they all now have an abundant array of different device types. So very exciting. I did mention that we have worked ever so closely with our partners, more now than ever, as you guys can imagine, because we're still in that what if scenario, right? We've, again, one of the main reasons I've always loved education, I have 3 kids myself, is that educators, IT administrators within education never hesitate against a challenge, right? And so when all this happened back in, March, April, everybody maybe had a freak out a little bit, but our partners, you guys, rallied around, made sure that our students, our administrators, our staff had what they need to continue learning in whatever shape or form. And that's continuing out, as we can see right here, and very much well, possibly into second semester. All right, now diving right into the nitty gritty here. I wanted to kind of keep this, like I said, very precise. The top 5 things that we are discussing with IT staff within school districts right now is, number 1, as you can imagine, I just need to simply connect to all my devices outside my network or domain. And yes, there have been many challenges depending on what operating system you have and how is that changing. Bringing us to number 2, I'm now needing to manage a growing and mixed operating OS environment, meaning you may be Windows heavy before, but now you've got thousands of Chromebooks or hundreds, or maybe you were an Apple district and now you adopted some Windows and Chrome and maybe some Android hotspots, right? What are we doing with this? Number 3, very simplistic, but so ever so important, as again, you rallied around, you got devices into the students' hands and families' hands. I need to track these suckers. All right, we sent them out, but can we recover them? What does that look like? Did we have a process in place? And it's always great to think of our families and students first, but now we have to look at from our assets point of view. So can we track them? Can we locate them? Can we recover them? Are we having to use one tool or multiple tools? What's the cost behind all this? Of course, my staff is now spending too much time troubleshooting all of these different operating systems, kind of going up with number 5. I need a quick and easy way to detect issues and remediate those issues off network, okay? And then kind of rounding it all up again with number 5 is that there's just too many different management tools out there to cater to each one of these operating systems needs, right? There's Apple products, there's Windows products, etc., right? So we just want to talk here at FileWave on how we're able to bring all of this simply into one place. Now, the next one, being very, very upfront here. I love our competitors. I love our industry. And if we ever get to meet one-on-one, hopefully you'll see that ever more. So I have complete 100% or more than that respect for all of the different players within our industry. But I simply built this presentation slide to kind of just show you in a very broad view is this is maybe what environments look like. Maybe it's yours, right? You have a Windows program. You have an Apple program. You've got different programs, plugins outside of the GAC, right? You've got Android devices maybe, right? So there's a tool for that. And of course, asset management. All right. So this is the true nature, right? This is it, right? There's all these different programs that hit each one of these different avenues, but it's just too much, right? Our staff's not growing within education IT, right? As much as we've always known it needs to. And so how do we work smarter as a team? How do we centralize that? And so here at FileWave, we just want to kind of bring you one tool to rule them all. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into every little nook and cranny that FileWave here provides, but I'm just going to kind of hit the hot points, especially based on what we are going through over these past several months. So number one takeaway here at FileWave, if you haven't caught on already, is that we bring all of this into one platform, one toolkit, as we see, whether it's MDM, EMM, ITAM, you name it, right? It is also all inclusive. So as I talk about a lot of things, as I have already, please never think that this is broken up modularly. Everything is always in the one platform. No matter what devices you have, you can expand all these different functionalities. You don't have to worry about what you don't have, what support levels, all that good stuff. All right. So it's always going to be in there. So as we talk through things, we always like to discuss things in a life cycle preview. So starting on the left there, if you kind of caught on and went ahead of me, definitely okay. But we're imaging or we're provisioning devices to get them out there into the wild. But once they're out there, we need to associate content, whether it's software, applications, scripts, documents, settings, whatever it may be, we need to deploy it. But are we able to with the tools outside the network? Is it dependable? Can I connect to them in general? FileWaves can connect to them no matter the network, and again, no matter the device. As you look at how you've deployed different content currently or in the past, maybe you just want to kind of revert to a self-service option. Very much like you personally use potentially on your smart device yourself. You go to an app store, you find some music, some books, some documents, right? Some games. We now can give you the ability to create your own internal school district app store. So now you don't have to sit there and deploy content over the air. You now can just make it on demand for the end users. They can grab it when they're ready, and they never have to be allowed administrative rights. So that's the beauty. Of course, with patch management, being directly connected, integrated with Microsoft and Apple, this is also important because now you can get rid of any additional sus servers, update servers, and again, use FileWave just as that one platform to manage all those updates. Remote desktop, pretty self-explanatory function, but ever so important, of course, right? We need to continue to remote out to these devices and help our users because they can't just walk down the hall to the IT desk, right? So the big benefit again here at FileWave is that I can be on a Windows machine, jump into my Mac users, or Mac to Windows, doesn't matter. And again, bottom line, they don't have to be on the same network. So wherever they are, you can jump in just like you're sitting there in front of that device, help them with what they need to, or work alongside them. It's really flexible and up to you as the organization. Device tracking, again, straightforward, but bringing up all your devices, whether it's, hey, I need to track this Windows, Chrome, iPad, you track them all at the same time, bring them up on that map, get their location anywhere from about 14 to 400 feet, and be able to export that information maybe to if we are in a recovery mode as well. The other side of FileWave is a full-blown asset management tool, and we do start this off with our device discovery option. Now, of course, this is maybe going to be a little bit more inside the walls, but nevertheless, FileWave gives you the ability to do a network scan and bring back and show you everything that truly is connected to your environment, not just what's being managed. And this is crazy important, as you can imagine, as there's now so many different smart boards, obviously, of course, ongoing printers, access points themselves, smart thermostats, anything and everything that's connected to your network is going to be brought back into this scan. And you can use FileWave to inventory all of those different peripherals without having to increase license costs or anything like that. It's an added benefit. FileWave, again, can act as a true end-all, your one and only asset management tool, but we love our integration ability because as different organizations adopt Hays software, one-to-one, Follett, the list goes on, Incident IQ, right? There's all these different other asset barcode scanning, our RFID, help desk systems. That's where FileWave can integrate with those systems and kind of bring that ecosystem into one. So it's really nice. License management, obviously keeping you in compliance. So whether it's using the volume purchase program with Apple, that's going to be directly synced with FileWave because we are a full-blown MDM, or all the other licensed content that you guys are buying now, right? You continually are buying software or different solutions, anything that's licensed. And then we need a good way to have you go somewhere, one place, and see, hey, what have we purchased? What has been deployed? And bottom line, where is it? Are they getting the usage out of it? Taking us to the usage segment. For predominantly Windows and Mac, we're able to give you the ability to drill down into your systems and actually see, are our end users launching the software in general? But if they are, how often, right? How long are we using it? Do we need to keep it? If it's a renewable item, it's a good time to maybe look at that, save some cost, every penny counts. Or maybe those users are not just using the owned product, so we can go ahead and uninstall it, redeploy it to those users that need it. Now, the last two ones I'll touch on here are really exciting functions because they really break FileWave apart from really anything that's out there in the market, right? And it's the big thing on how we do things differently in regards to deployments. So number one, self-healing. What's that mean? Again, going back to all of these devices that are out there, all of the content that exists, applications, documents, full software packs, Adobe Creative Suite, Microsoft Office, even those large, heavy loads, it doesn't matter what's out there. Bottom line, you just want it to work every day. So FileWave has an ability to make sure every day, by default, every 24-hour check-in, that those programs are working. You can set what you want to self-heal or not to self-heal. But the big benefit here is if you've ever went through an IT help desk scenario, my office doesn't work, I can't open PowerPoint, or I can't find this document. If you set that to self-heal, FileWave, again, by default, every 24 hours does a file-by-file check and puts it right back on that system, or fixes it if it became damaged or corrupt by the end user or accidentally or maliciously. Or the user can just reboot their system. So if you can imagine how many times does a student have to leave that learning environment because there's a program failure or issue. Now with our self-healing ability, just by the end user being coached to reboot your system, that program we know is set to self-heal. So upon reboot, FileWave will also do that file-by-file check and put that content right back to working state. The next one is auto-resuming deployments. So this has been around forever with FileWave, but again, really came back to the forefront with that at-home experience. Because again, as IT administrators, what are we doing? We're always associating new content, new items to these devices. But what happens in that deployment phase? Number one, we deploy it. The devices may not be on, and so it kicks back. We have to, ask, hey, when are you going to be on for a couple hours so I can get you this content? Or worse, you've initiated that deployment. It's happening in the background to those end users, but they close their laptop or they lose Wi-Fi connectivity. All in all, they've, again, killed that installation. All pains for IT. We can't lie to ourselves. It's painful, right? We're having to coach our users to please stay online. With FileWave, we got you covered there too, because as you associate content, once the deployment is initiated, even if the device isn't on initially, it just waits. As soon as that machine comes online, it begins that installation. But then the real fun stuff happens, because now that user, they may not know anything's happening. They close their laptop lid, they go to a coffee shop safely, but nevertheless, they disconnected that installation. Well, here at FileWave, we just pause. The system pauses itself and waits to find that user once again. As soon as that machine checks back into a different network, if it is, it just resumes that installation right where it left off, creating a really huge peace of mind and safety net for you guys to continue doing what's more important, rather than just tracking installation successes and failures. All right. And I know I kind of mentioned our API integrations and Haze software and some other solutions. So I always like to tout that. We love our ecosystem partners because they are ever so genuine. They love education as well as we do. And so as much as we want to bring all this together, we want to. Now, kind of quickly touching on our, the infrastructure, what's that look like? Because FileWave being cross-platform, we want you to have that flexibility to build out the environment as well. So number one, you can have an on-prem virtual environment through VMware or Hyper-V. We have those VM servers pre-built, ready for you to download and go. You can place FileWave on a Mac server if you want to, or you can use the FileWave cloud. All right, so we can host your environment as well, whatever your flavor, whatever your setup parameters, we've got you covered there too. Now, more importantly, though, for us, we want to talk about our boosters real quick. So those are those circles. Hopefully you can see there on the screen. So there's 3 of those demonstrated there. Boosters at FileWave are essentially a proxy or caching server. You can have as many boosters as you want as an organization. They can also run on a Mac, Windows, virtual, VM, but they do not have to be server spec, which is a huge benefit for a lot of organizations. Because if you think about it, we don't want you to spend more money. But I've got old Windows machines sitting out there in a closet with not doing anything, or I got old Mac minis just sitting around. Those are perfect for a booster. Like I said, you can throw them on anything, decent sized hard drive, base operating system, you've got yourself a booster. Now what you can create is that external connection, those external connection points, so that not all of your traffic has to continually route towards your main server, creating that bandwidth overload. You can assign different boosters to different buildings, all the way down to specific device groups. Now in group 1 in high school 1, let's say it's 2,000 machines. Maybe they all need Creative Suite today. Holy cow, 20 plus gig program, we're going to deploy it over the air. But now it's all happening from that booster. They don't have to communicate anywhere else across that district's network, no matter how widespread or centralized you are. The booster is going to do all that work centrally. Taking that one step further, you can also place your imaging servers on those boosters. So if you're still using an imaging ability for those Windows machines, you can have as many Windows imaging servers as you can, as you want as well. And that allows you to do some of that more network-based imaging nice and easily, quickly, but again, not having to interfere or take away from any other bandwidth sections. Check time here real quick. All right, so I've got 10 minutes, and I'm trusting my team here. I'm going to do a really quick spot check here if there is any questions. All right, cool. He was just making sure. All right, so I've for about 5 minutes, and again, I do want to state that this is going to be very, very quick. Let me pull it up here. So I'll take about 5 minutes here, and then I'll leave 5 minutes for Q&A. If there are or are not any questions, we'll make sure there's just enough time to close it out. So real quick, this is the native FileWave admin. We do have a web UI as well that can be a lot more helpful on the go, as you can imagine. So, but really quickly, the idea here is I just want to quickly demonstrate how quick and central everything is. So within our clients view, this is where I can see all of my different devices, whether I have them in my all Windows group, all Mac, all iOS, or again, all Chrome, right? All here, I didn't have to go anywhere else. But more importantly, how quickly is it to execute certain things? Maybe I just need to track this Windows device. So just by double clicking that Windows machine, I can bring it up right on that map. I can get the latitude, longitude, the IP address, export that information. I can also jump right into it. If you haven't noticed, I am on a Mac myself, but I jumped into this Windows machine and I can jump right into that remote desktop phase, alert that user that I'm requesting a session. Or if it's a more lab-based device, we can just take control of it without those permissions. I can remote wipe it, but I won't do that one here because my engineer probably wouldn't be too happy with me. Also, as I mentioned, we work alongside the Google Suite, so that Google Admin Console, so we can also drill down into the different devices, track those Chromebooks right alongside all my other devices. But also, we on the Chrome specifically, we give you that users tab. And as you know, and we know that you can get the last known user in that Chromebook, you don't get a historical running total, which is here at FileWave what we give you. You can see every single user that has logged in and out of that device, when they're in, when they're out, how many times, what throughout the life of that device. Also, it's very easy within FileWave to kind of better organize your Chromebooks. You can simply drag and drop just like this, a device from OU to OU. All right. Aside from creating, we can also create OUs and different things in here as well. All right. So file sets, again, very quickly, we have a lot of different ways to deploy your content, right? App and folder, if you know a content location. Empties is for every iteration of scripting. So if you want to do any type of script, you can do that here. I'll skip down here to software updates, as I mentioned, directly connected with Microsoft and Apple. So I can come in here, I can see all my Windows updates today, all my Mac, all my iPad, all my Apple TV updates front and center, and decide how I want to deploy them out, right? But again, I didn't have to go anywhere else. Profiles, so this should look very familiar to a lot of you if you are dealing currently with an MDM, Apple School Manager, or old-fashioned Apple configurator. We wanted you to feel right at home here. So you come in here, build all your different profiles, even for, I always like to point out, because of the longstanding history we have in MDM, we go way back in that support, right? So we still support those legacy devices, of course, up into the features that Apple allows an MDM to do on those older devices. All right. So one big thing here is if we've done so many different MDM transitions, it's not even funny. But one piece of mind here I always like to mention is that if we are going to potentially look at a conversion from a current MDM that you're using, we can actually export their profiles that you've created and import into FileWave. So you can kind of skip that step and we can help with that overall migration. All right. App Store, so our direct connection to the App Store, but also we've got that VPP integration. So you're going to be able to now have that twofold a little bit. MSI PKG, so you can actually very quickly deploy and build that MSI or PKG package, deploy it out to those different devices, or you can use our file set magic, which is our ability on how we build a package type to give you that very file level granular control, get that self-healing ability as we talked about in the slides. Associations, again, staying front and center, doesn't matter the devices. This is where everything comes together. So I can deploy anything. I can deploy a whole group of content, software updates, scripts, right? I can deploy them all to all Windows machines, or I can be very singular and just activate this specific Windows machine. So you can do all groups, you can do it to a specific device, or and I will thank our friends over at San Antonio ISD, you can even drill down and actually see, you get to build this out and customize that however you want. We can integrate with your Active Directory, so we can kind of replicate that forest structure. So that may be a head start too. And then you can kind of drill down into your actual classrooms within that school building, as you can kind of see here, it's built up. So all in all, everything is drag and drop. So once again, I can drop it to an all group, a single device. You can clone devices to be in as many groups as you want. Imaging, again, if you've ever imaged, imaging is pretty straightforward, so I won't spend a lot of time here, but I will make a quick note. If you have any Mac devices pre-Sierra, you can utilize our imaging tool still for that. But of course, as you should be aware through Apple, being Apple compliant, anything after Sierra is using the new DEP methodology, all right? But for Windows, of course, you can still build your Windows imaging in here. You can build as big as image as you want, or a thin image, which is what we encourage because we have the ability to deploy everything thereafter, even those drivers, right? So deploy that very baseline image that can go on a Dell, Lenovo, HP, right? It doesn't matter because then I can get out all my drivers there afterwards. Classroom was our quick connection with Apple Classroom specifically. I will make a quick note here too. If you do have, if you use clever.com, we're great. We've been a partner of theirs for 7 years. So really good way to integrate your SIS. If you are not currently using Clever and maybe thought about it, you actually get a free Clever account when you become a FileWave customer. I'm going to skip down here to license management. So again, keeping all of my licensed content front and center, knowing if I'm in compliance based on how many I've purchased, based on how many have been redeemed. Boosters, again, this is where we're going to be able to do that discovery scan, seeing what's out there on the networks and bring all that back in and then organize it. Maybe even have an inventory tech. And then asset management itself. If you get your hands on FileWave, want to get a good tutorial on just FileWave overall, we're going to give you some baseline searches from an inventory perspective. I just want to see all my Windows devices. I want to see all my Windows devices still on 7. That's a problem. All the way down to show me my machines with less than 8 gigs of RAM. Show me my devices that haven't checked in the last 72, 48 hours, right? Just depending on what kind of checkpoints are more important for you. All right. So again, there's over 3,000 fields within our asset management tool. You can also build in custom fields, right? So it's really endless, the opportunity here. And also kind of just from a peace of mind perspective. And I did want to point out that as I bring up this last slide here, we talked about a lot of things within 30 minutes, but the number one thing I want everyone to remember is that, whether you're just needing to enhance your Windows environment, your MDM environment, maybe you just need to track your Chrome devices. You can start there with FileWave. You don't have to look at it from all right away. All right. So this is kind of just closing out here as kind of what's next, what's possible for you. Of course, we'd love to dive in a discovery call, just talk about strategies openly with what's going on, what's expected for next year. We are all about the true planning process, right? We want to learn what you're going through first and foremost before we assume anything. we're very happy to go through that management systems review, kind of discussing what tools are in play, why are they in play, who remembers what, or who is using what, why, the cost behind it, right? We'll put a nice cost analysis side by side as we are very upfront and transparent about that. All right. One-to-one demonstration. We can definitely dive into your current needs with Jerry, of course, our sales team. We'll dive in, give you that custom demonstration all the way to a guided setup. You can get a full production level installation of FileWave with the assistance of Jerry as well. You get him dedicated to you throughout that process. We really put a lot of tools at your fingertips to make sure you have a great experience. Before you even look at spending any money, we want you to really make sure this is the right fit for you. That's why we're definitely devoted to that. Again, just to reiterate, FileWave again is all inclusive. The tool set itself, all of the different functionalities, all the way to continued updates you automatically get, but more importantly, an unlimited support model. So we operate on an unlimited support model. You can call us, email us, spawn a ticket, whatever need you have. You're never going to run out or get that reminder that, hey, you need to re-up or anything like that. We've got you covered. And this is huge for IT teams and especially district leadership as you think, how much time does my team spend on the phone with Microsoft or an Apple product or an Android product? There's too many, right? Or too long of waits. Wouldn't it be nice to call one company knowing that IT tech can talk to you about your Windows, your MDM needs, your Android, your Chrome, right? That in itself has just been a game changer for educators. Just knowing that, hey, I've got one place to go. I don't have to wait, 2 days to get a response for some of our vendors. To kind of touch on the licensing model here real quick, we have the per device per year model, of course, very straightforward. We are the only MDM that does offer a true district site license. So this is awesome. A lot of the larger districts within Virginia do operate with that district site license, just saying, hey, look, here's my flat cost. I don't have to worry about now what I'm getting. Are they Apple? Are they Windows? Are they Chrome? I don't care. Neither does the amount. You could have 15,000 students and you could have 50,000 devices. And guess what? Cost never changes anymore. So it's a great way to just have that budgeted baseline, know what you have, know that you're taken care of, and you're good to go from there. All right, so I know I'm right on time here. Just another quick thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we get the opportunity to meet again and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I don't see any questions in the chat, but I will remind everybody the conversation can continue over in Discord. So definitely catch up with FileWave there and keep the conversations going. Thank you guys for presenting, and thank you everybody for attending. Have a great rest of the conference.
All right, thank you.